Imagine a world without words. A silent, lonely existence where every rustle in the grass, every shadow in the distance, could be your last. This was the reality for our earliest ancestors. A world of constant danger, where survival was a moment-to-moment struggle. But out of this silent peril, something extraordinary was born. Not from a place of comfort or leisure, but from the raw, desperate need to survive. This is the story of how we, as a species, found our voice. This is Stone Age survival. When silence found a voice, think about it. A single sound, a sudden shout of warning echoing through the plains. And for the first time, a scattered group of early humans understood each other without a single word being exchanged. They didn't have language as we know it, but in that shared moment of alarm, a connection was forged. Survival in the Stone Age wasn't just about being strong or fast. It was about unity. And unity, at its core, requires understanding. How do you coordinate a hunt? How do you warn your family of a predator lurking nearby? How do you share the location of a vital water source? Without a shared system of communication, you can't. You are isolated, vulnerable, and ultimately doomed. This desperate need to connect, to build bridges between individual minds, sparked the birth of communication. It didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, grueling process born from observation and necessity. Imagine a lone hunter on a ridge. He spots a herd of mammoths in the valley below. He can't possibly take one down alone. He needs his clan. But how does he tell them? He can't just send a text message. He runs back to the camp, his heart pounding. He points, he grunts, he stamps his feet, mimicking the heavy tread of the mammoth. His eyes are wide with urgency. This wasn't just noise, it was information. It was the beginning. This is where our journey truly begins, with that first step, observation. A hunter lets out a sharp cry, and the others instinctively turn their heads, their senses on high alert. The sound, through repetition and context, starts to mean something. That specific cry isn't just a random noise. It's a signal. It means danger. It means look up. Another sound, a low guttural call, might mean come here or gather. The group begins to associate specific sounds with specific events or needs. They observe the cause and effect. A shout equals a response. A gesture equals an action. They were learning, not in a classroom, but on the unforgiving savannah, where the price of a lesson could be your life. The brain, our supercomputer for pattern recognition, began wiring these new connections. Sound plus context equals meaning. This was the simple, yet revolutionary, equation that would change our destiny forever. From this foundation of observation, the second step naturally followed. Experimentation. This was the creative phase, the messy and beautiful process of trial and error. Our ancestors began to play with sound and movement. Think of it as a prehistoric game of charades, but with the highest stakes imaginable. A grunt could be modified, a high-pitched grunt for excitement, a low, long one for disappointment. Hand gestures became more elaborate. Pointing was just the start. They might mimic the flapping of a bird to indicate something in the sky, or the slithering of a snake to warn of danger on the ground. They would imitate the animals they hunted, not just for storytelling, but for practical instruction. This is how the deer moves. This is where you strike. It was a dance of mimicry, a symphony of grunts, clicks, and gestures, all aimed at one thing: creating a shared understanding, a mental blueprint that everyone in the tribe could access. Of course, this process was far from perfect. This leads us to the crucial third step: realization through failure. Imagine the chaos. A hunter tries to describe a new, berry-rich grove he found. He makes a series of gestures and sounds, but the group misinterprets him. They think he's warning them about a bear. Instead of heading towards a feast, they grab their spears and prepare for a fight. The misunderstanding leads to wasted energy, confusion, and frustration. Or worse, a misinterpreted warning about a predator could lead to a fatal ambush. These failures were brutal but necessary. Every single mistake was a data point. It forced them to refine their signals, to make them clearer, less ambiguous. They learned that a certain gesture was too similar to another, or that a particular sound was easily mistaken. Communication wasn't just being built. It was being chiseled, refined by the harsh reality of its consequences. Each failure honed their fledgling language, making it more precise, more effective, and more reliable. Through this relentless cycle of observation, experimentation, and refinement, they finally reached the fourth step: mastery. A set of common, understood sounds and gestures began to emerge and solidify across the group. These were the first building blocks of language. There was a specific, undeniable cry for a lion. There was a unique call for gathering the clan. A particular gesture for water. But something even more profound was happening. They weren't just communicating facts. They were communicating feelings. A soft coo between a mother and child conveyed love and safety. A shared, guttural laugh after a successful hunt built camaraderie and joy. The raw, unfiltered emotions of the human heart were now finding an outlet, a voice. For the first time, they could share not just what they saw, but what they felt. Fear, joy, relief, sorrow. Emotion was taking form through the voice, and this shared emotional experience bound the tribe together more tightly than any rope ever could. And so, we arrive at the heart of our story, the punchline that echoes through millennia. Before the first words were ever spoken, before grammar and syntax were ever conceived, meaning already existed. It lived in the urgent gestures, the warning cries, the shared laughter, and the comforting sounds. It lived within the human heart, desperate to connect. The invention of language wasn't the invention of meaning. It was simply giving that pre-existing meaning a more complex and versatile vessel. Our desire to understand and be understood is not a modern luxury. It is the ancient, driving force that made us human. It was the key to our survival, the spark that lit the long fuse of civilization. Our journey doesn't end here. This was just the beginning. With this foundation, what came next? What happens when these sounds and gestures evolve into something more? When they become true words, capable of not just pointing to the present, but describing the past and imagining the future. Words form, complex stories are woven around the flickering fire, and the first songs begin to echo in the deep, painted caves. Join us next time as we explore the very next leap for humanity, the discovery of music and rhythm. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey back in time. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more explorations into our incredible past. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. We'll see you then.